Welcome to today's class. So in today's class, we'll be looking at mathematics, basically series and sequence. So this is one of the most important topic in grade 11 and also for your exam, because this question always comes in paper 1. As you can see, I've even indicated the years down: 2025, 2024, 2020. So meaning each and every year you find the question on series and sequence. So this is paper 1. You will find arithmetic progression. So before we solve this question, we are going to summarize some points on the topic of arithmetic progression. So before I start, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, follow and comment for more questions, and if the video was helpful, share to your friends. So to begin, we'll be looking at arithmetic progression. So arithmetic progression, this is quite a very simple and short topic. So what do we mean when we are talking about an arithmetic progression? So an arithmetic progression is just a series of numbers where the difference between the terms is constant. What do we mean? So we can have, for example, a series of numbers like we have 2, 5, 8, 11, 14, just like that. So this is what is known as a sequence of numbers, where numbers are following each other. And if you can see, from 2 to 5, we are adding what? 3. From 5 to 8, we are adding 3. From 8 to 11, we are adding 3. From 11 to 14, we are adding 3. So this is also what it means when we say the difference is what? Constant. So the difference is not changing. So this is what is known as an arithmetic progression, where the difference between the consecutive terms is the same. So now you have to understand some terms which you come across. So the first term which you come across is the term which is known as the first term. So we have what is known as first term. So we have what is known as the first term, which is represented by A. So what do we mean when we say a first term? So first term, this is the term which is at the beginning of every sequence. In our case, our first term is 2. So you can say A is equals to 2 in our example. Then the next thing is you have to identify now the common difference. What is the difference between the terms? So that you can find by what? Subtracting the second term minus the first term. So the common difference is found by subtracting what? The second term minus the first term. And when we say this, we do not mean that in each and every situation where you come across finding the common difference, you have to subtract the second and the first. You can also subtract the third and the second, the fourth and the third, the fifth and the fourth, because we say that the difference among all these is what? Is the same. So we have understood what the first term means. We have also understood what the common difference means. So now finally we have to look at the formula now which we use. So what is the formula now which we use to calculate the arithmetic progression? So the formula is this one, a plus n minus 1 d. So let me explain the meaning of the terms. Yeah. So a, we have already known that a means what? The first term. Then d, we said that is what? The common difference. So in this formula, I'll just talk about two things. This one and this. So these are the two things which you also need to know. So what does Tn mean? So this means the nth term. So what do you mean when you say the nth term? So this is the term, or this is the number which we are looking for. For example, in our case, 2 is what? The nth term. 5 is the nth term. 8 is the nth term. 11 is the what? Nth term. Then 14 also is the nth term. Just like that. Then when we talk about this n, so n is what? The position of the term. So this is the position where the term is. When we look at 2, we can see that 2 is the first term. So here you put what? 1. When you look at 5, 5 is the second term. So here you put what? 2. This is the third term. You put 3, 4, just like that. Then the final formula which you need to understand when you're talking about arithmetic progression is the formula for sum. So you can't just be adding these numbers, 2 plus 5 plus 8 plus 11 plus 14 plus. If we have a lot of number, it will become difficult for us to add them. So that's why we have a formula which help us to calculate the sum. So the formula goes like this. So the sum of the nth term is equals to n divided by 2. Then you have 2a plus n minus 1, then d. Yeah. So these two formulas, make sure you know them very, very well. Because these two formulas, you won't find them anywhere. You just have to master them. So the simple way you can master this formula is that if you look at this formula and this formula, they are similar. But the only addition to the sum is what? N divided by 2 plus and what? And 2. So these are the only three things which they have added to the first formula. So these are the basics, or this is everything which you need to understand on the arithmetic progression. So now let's look at the question which we have. So we have our first question here, which is saying for the sequence 5, 12 and 19, find the what? The 6th term. So I showed you, you have to use the what? The formula. So the formula which I showed you is Tn is equals to a plus n minus 1 divided by d. Then we say that the first step you have to identify the what? The first term. So our first term is this one, which is 5. Then we move on to our common difference. Our common difference, we say that you subtract the second term minus the first term. So you say 12 minus 5, which is 12 minus 5, which is 3. Oh, it's not. So 12 minus 5, the answer is 7. Yeah. So our common difference is 7 and our first term is 5. Then what position is our term we are calculating? The term we are calculating is the 6th term. So our n is what? 6. Then you just put in the formula. So you say our first term is 5 plus n, which is 6 minus 1. Our common difference is 7. Then according to body mass, work out what is in the bracket first. So you say 6 minus 1, we have 5. So you say 5 plus 5, then times 7. So here 5 times 7, we have what? 35. So you say 5 plus 35, we have what? 40 as our 6th term. So that's how simple these questions are. Then when they ask you now to find the nth term, so when they ask you to find the nth term, they are asking you to calculate now the formula, the short form of this formula which we use to be solving the question. So how can you calculate the short formula? So since we are calculating the nth term, we don't know the position of the term we want. So therefore our n will just be n. So you say T n is equals to, what is our first term? Our first term is 5, then plus our n we don't know. So we just leave it like that. Then the common difference we have is 7. Then here you now distribute 7 according to body mass. Work out the brackets first. So 7 times n, we have 7n. 7 times -1, we have -7. Then here group the right terms. So what are the like terms? So the like terms is 5 and 7. Why? Because they don't have n in them. So you say 5 minus 7 plus 7n. Then 5 minus 7, we have what? -2 plus 7n as our nth term. So this is the simplified formula which you can use in other term. Then we come to our second question. So our second question is saying, given that 25 and 13 are the first and third terms of an arithmetic progression respectively, find the second term. B, find the formula for the nth term. So in this second question, read the question carefully and understand it. It is saying, given that 25 and 13 are the first and third. So meaning 25 is our first term and 13 is our third term. We don't have our second term. That's why we are calculating what? The second term. So how can you calculate the second term? Yeah. So the way we calculate the second term is this. So you need to pay attention. Okay. So as I said, you need to pay particular attention to this question. So since we have the first and the third term, so we are going to say our first term is what? A, which is 25. And our third term is 13. So meaning we have to use the third term to calculate what? The common difference. Why am I saying so? So if you look at the formula for calculating the nth term, it is a plus n minus 1, you have d. Yeah. Then if we look at the data we have what? We have our first term, we have our third term, and we also know the position at which the third term is, which is n, which is 3. Yeah. So since we have all the three values, meaning we can find the common difference which we can use to calculate the second term. So this is how simple questions are if you are paying particular attention. So what you need to know is just the formula. So we say our first term is 25 plus n is 3 minus 1, then d we don't know, then here the third term we have is 13. So you say 13 is equals to 25 plus 3 minus 1, we have 2, then d. Then here we multiply 2 times 13, 25 plus 2d. Then 25 closes the equal sign. We have 13 minus 25, which is equals to 2d. Then when you subtract 13 minus 25, you will have negative 12, which is equal to 2d. Then here you divide by 2, which gives us our common difference to be negative 6. Yeah. So remember, the question is not asking us for the common difference, but for the second term. So now we can use the formula to calculate the second term because we have our first term, the common difference, and we know the position which the second term is, which is 2. So you say Tn is equals to a plus n minus 1 d. So our first term is 25 plus 2 minus 1. Then our common difference is negative 6. Then you say 25 plus, so here you have 2 minus 1, which is 1. 1 times negative 6. We have 25 minus 6, which gives us 21 as our second term. Then for the formula of the nth term, I showed you how you can calculate in our first part. So we are going to skip that part. Even for question 3. So question 3, I've talked about how you can find the 6th term and the nth term. So you just apply everything we did here. The only difference here is the common difference. Here the common difference is different from this one, but whatever they are requiring are the same. So let's look at the final question. So the final question is saying, given that 7, so the final question is saying, given that 7, 11, 15, and 19 is an arithmetic progression, find the 10th term. So again, you apply the same rule. You say Tn is equals to a plus n minus 1 d. What is our first term? Our first term is 7. What is our common difference? So our common difference is 11 minus 7, which is 4. Yeah. So Now that we have our common difference, we also have our first term, we can calculate what? The 10th term. So you say the first term is 7 plus, what is the position? 10 minus 1. What is the common difference? 4. Then you say 7 plus 10 minus 1, 9 times 4. So what is 7 plus, what is 9 times 4? So 9 times 4 is 36. Then 7 plus 36, we have what? 43 as our 10th term. So this is how simple questions can come. So now let's look at the final part which I wanted us to look at, which is the sum of the first 12 terms. So yeah, when we are talking about the sum, remember the formula I showed you. Sum of the nth term is equals to n divided by 2, which 2a plus n minus 1 and d. So I told you that the only thing which you add to the formula for sum is just n divided by 2 and what? 2a. That's all. Then here again, we know everything. We have our n, which is 12. So you say 12 divided by 2. We have our first term, which is 7. Then again plus, we have n, which is 12 minus 1. What is our common difference? Our common difference we solved to be 4. Yeah. Then here you can divide 2 into 12, we have 6. Then here 2 times 7, we have 14 plus 12 minus 1, we have 11 times 4. So 11 times 4, we have what? 44. Yeah. Then 14 plus 44, we have what? 58. Then when you multiply 6 times 58, you are going to get your answer to be 348 as your sum of the 12 terms. So this is where the topic of arithmetic progression ends. So this is paper 1. The next video we are going to look at the geometric progression, which is the series and sequence for paper 2.